Hi, friends. I am so excited to bring to you a partner in education along with me, Kylie Larsen. She is an educator, reading specialist, and a student success coach. Get this, she has over 20 years of experience helping students build both skills and confidence. Kylie has worked with learners across elementary, middle school, and high school, and she is certified in secondary social studies, K through 12 reading, and she currently is completing her elementary education certification. Kylie is the founder of 4011 Learning, you can see right here on the screen, where she supports students and families through personalized reading instruction and academic coaching. And her work is grounded in what she calls the three M's: mindset, methods, and management, helping students change how they think about learning, use strategies that actually work, and build simple systems that make school feel manageable instead of overwhelming. And because we're both former teachers and we're both currently tutors, I like to bring other educators on the show to talk about how they're impacting students' mindsets, their education, supporting parents, very much like I do. And so, Kylie, welcome. So glad
Thank
to have
you
you.
so much, Cheryl. I'm so excited to be here with you today.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this. And so, I have had many educators on my show. I don't always keep their videos up for an extended period of time, but I like to introduce people to educators that they might not know about. And you are actually part of my coaching program that I'm kind of winding down. And when we had talked, I said, hey, do you want to be on the show? And you're like, absolutely. And I think this gives you a footstep into somebody else's channel where they can find you here on YouTube, Facebook, wherever we happen to post this. But you are doing some really incredible things. Now, let's talk about your journey to becoming a tutor and to doing what you were doing. So in the past, and I just read that you'd been educator for 20 years. Tell us a little bit about how that changed. How did you go from being in the classroom to doing what you're currently doing now?
Okay, sure, absolutely. The last year that I was teaching in the classroom, I was actually an elementary science and social studies teacher for fourth grade. I absolutely loved it. I loved that age group. I loved both of the topics because the students loved both of the topics. So it was so easy to teach, but it was a really challenging time for me to, in addition to having some health conditions that were kind of plaguing me as far as like fatigue and things like that. I was becoming really jaded a bit and disheartened by the way that standardized testing is affecting public education, especially for our elementary students. And it just really got to the point where it was kind of overwhelmingly emotional for me. I have three kids in public schools in North Carolina. I'm a big advocate of public schools, but to be on the inside and see the pressure that teachers face when it comes to those end of grade tests and to see how it affects conversations about kids and conversations about curriculum, I just couldn't do that anymore. It was too much. And so wanting to spend more time with my family and kind of focus on my health, that sort of stressful year that I had at the end. And I think the reason it was stressful is I was at a high poverty school and that had not performed well in the past. And so there was a lot of pressure put on us to turn that around. So I didn't want to stop doing what I loved, but I wanted to get out of that environment.
Yeah, yeah, you echo so many of the sentiments that I also held as I was reflecting. Did I want to go one more year before I was eligible for the retirement system income that I would get here in Nebraska? And I just decided that I couldn't put myself through another year of that. It is very stressful. I was also the fifth grade science teacher. And really, it came down to a reading test, is what I mean,
Absolutely.
yes, they had to have the content and the knowledge, but those tests are so challenging for our students and very, if they're not written at a fifth grade level or a fourth grade level. And so it's very advanced. And so you get those struggling readers and they just can't read it. And so it reflects back on you as the teacher that you didn't do your job when you worked very very hard. And I think even as you were saying, you were in fourth grade at the time,
Mhm.
a lot of those kids have reading issues that haven't been maybe mastered or overcome by the time we
Absolutely.
get them. And it, even if you're not a reading teacher in the classroom, you're still teaching reading.
Mhm.
And so I think all of those things, I can see your picture. I can see why you left. And having young children and having health issues, that just compounds the stress.
Mhm.
So yeah, I'm glad that you made that decision, because right now your focus is definitely in a different spot. Tell us a little bit about now how you transitioned to become the tutor that you are, the educator that you now are. What was that like? You left, but then you had to set this program up. Do you do it in your house? Do you meet students at a location? Where did the inspiration come from? Kind of give us a little bit of the walk through that from
Okay.
your perspective.
Sure. I determined at the end of really last school year that I was not going to go back into the classroom. So over the summer, I casually tutored 3 students, and I met them at the local library. And over that summer, I sort of built out my concept for what my tutoring business would be. And I kind of launched it in August, the beginning of this current school year.
That is
And
awesome.
so I teach online primarily, and I do have some families that just are really adamant about in person. And so right now, as I'm getting started, I do feel like I am trying to make supplement my income. And so I do try to take on as many clients as I can right now. And so I have 2 days that I go to 2 separate local libraries to tutor in person as well.
Awesome. And I think by limiting your availability, that's a good thing, because putting
Mhm.
parameters on that was one of the hard lessons I kind of had to learn when I got started doing this. Well, it's 3.5 years ago, was just determining what was my availability. And at first I was like, I'm going to be available anytime for everybody. And I just had to really kind of narrow it down. I had to narrow down what I was willing to teach, because if I'm teaching too many things, I'm not really an expert at anything. And then the
Mhm.
planning was killing me. So I just decided to niche down and just do literacy skills. So reading, writing, and spelling. And even that is still a lot of prep work.
It is.
So yeah, that's great. So you're kind of that hybrid teacher. And I meet with a lot of tutors that do that, where some people are in person and some are online. Now, when I was looking at your website, you had the 3 M's. And I
Mhm.
will share your website with you, just because I know it's a little stressful when you're trying to think off the top of your head. But let's just go down to the bottom where I had seen that, because I thought it was really valuable. And you were talking about the truths that you believe about learning. And maybe over here they were, I think on your introduction we said mindset, something else, and something else. I don't even have it up anymore.
Yes.
But I like this part right here about your knowledge is power, confidence grows from feeling capable, and every student learns differently, and those differences are strengths, not shortcomings. Because I think we share a lot of those same teaching values, that
Yes.
pedagogy, or that why do I do it,
Right.
feeling. Talk
Right.
about some of that. Go ahead and talk about some of that.
Well, so I have a few kind of mantras, I guess you would say, that I try to keep me grounded. And one of them is this live and let learn. It comes from my rock and roll song that I'm alluding to there. But the concept is, yes, I'm an educator. I'm a lifelong learner. I love all of those things. I love learning. I love reading and writing. But what I want for my students is for them to be able to live a life to their fullest potential that is a joyful and abundant. And I want that for everyone. And everyone's not, um, you know, an academic, quote unquote.
Mhm.
I want
Mhm.
them to learn skills through whatever subjects we're working on that carry through to life, because the living part of it is the most important part for me. I want them, nobody teaches us how to be a student.
Mm-mm.
that, and it amazes me the lack of information students have on how their brain works, how their memory works, how to study for something in a way that will work. Um, we don't teach that in schools, and people are not born with those skills and that knowledge. So I'm really passionate about empowering students through that knowledge, because I thankfully just happen to sort of be inclined in that direction naturally. But those are skills that everyone can learn.
Right, right.
That's power for everyone, and that carries through life, not just school.
Yeah, yeah, and I think you have that that background knowledge of being in the classroom and seeing so many different learners, so many backgrounds, so many experiences, so many children with learning disabilities, just the whole gamut of things that really kind of can bring that all together into a nice, neat package for parents. And that's anytime I visit with a parent and they're seeking support, for their student, I always let them know, I have background in the classroom. I was in the classroom for 32 years. And I've been teaching, privately for 3 years, and I tell them about my experiences and how I've helped students overcome those challenges. So make sure that when parents contact you, you tell those stories. They do want to hear it, and don't be afraid to share those stories. That's wonderful. Okay, so now you're currently teaching these kids. What's kind of something that you want to do, as far as like programming? And I think you have it on your website. So should we go up and take a peek at some of the
Sure.
things that you're doing? I don't know how far up I need to go. You tell me when to stop. Should I go back down, or do you want to look here?
So yeah, you can go back down. I'll
Okay, you
see.
tell me when to stop. And I don't know why this is so large. I don't know if I made that super large.
So right now, in as far as my tutoring goes, I am offering monthly subscriptions that include not just the sessions with me tutoring, but other supports for parents, a monthly newsletter where I can address sort of common issues that are happening across the board, and give parents information. I'm also, I've included some new programs in my tutoring that are making my online sessions more interactive and dynamic. And so I really think the monthly subscriptions, they come with some added benefits than just scheduling a session that, you're just going to work on a certain topic.
Mhm.
And then also I have 3 Sunday courses that one is for fluency, because that is one of the most needed skills for readers to work on. So I have a fluency, a comprehension, and then a course I'm calling Attention Academy, but it's really an executive function type course. So
Right.
those
And
are
now let's use that in terms of parent talk, because
the
you and I know what executive functioning is. So for parents, that's like helping your kids stay organized, start
yes,
something, finish it, just all the
yes,
skills that they need to have to be a confident learner in the classroom and to be an
yes.
independent learner.
Yeah. How to plan if they have a project or assignment, how to prioritize what they do, because the truth of the matter is, um, sometimes we have to put our focus on one thing at the expense of something else, and we have to be able to determine where should we focus our attention, what's the benefit,
Right.
where's the most benefit. Focus and attention, which is kind of in tandem with executive function. But, I have a lot of students with ADHD, and there are plenty of strategies and tools that they can use to make their experience Um,
Love that. I love that. That's nice that you're offering so many different things. I kind of weave those things into uh, my practices with my students. So I don't actually offer like independent courses, but I like the fact that you are. And so if that's all the parent is seeking, then that's a great way to market and to really express to parents what your expertise is. And
Mhm.
that's great. Now, before we started, I said, well, let's kind of be thinking about um, your social media accounts. But before we look at your social media accounts, is there anything else that you want to tell your parents about your background, experiences students have with you? Any stories that you want to tell about like a transformational experience a student has had, calling them student A, student B, or whatever? Is there anything that
Mhm.
you'd like to share? Anything that comes to mind?
Well, I've just been in the business for a short amount of time, and the positive feedback I'm receiving from students and parents is tremendous, and it's very validating, and it's very motivating to watch my students excel. I know I had a parent send me a picture of her daughter holding up her very first 100 on a cold read, and that had been her. She was struggling with cold reads, and that was her focus. And now these cold reads only have 5 questions, so that's tough. You
That's very
miss,
difficult.
yes,
Hmm.
very difficult. I mean, you miss one, it's an 80.
Hmm.
So she's consistently making 80s and 100s now on her cold reads. I have another student who has only been in this country for 2 years, and he's actually at a yes, a charter school. They don't provide a lot of ESL services, and he has really been able to, like, we've narrowed down, here's the 3 things you're going to do every day, because he's too overwhelmed to do it all.
Yeah.
And just focusing down on those 3 things, he's been able to increase all of his grades, and he just feels more capable, I
Oh,
think.
for
So,
sure. Can you
mhm.
imagine just being here in a different country and then just needing that support? The school, I'm sure, is giving them as much as they can. But again, I really want to make sure that parents understand that the school will do what they can with the
Mhm.
resources that they have.
Mhm.
But your child is in a classroom with 20 to 30, maybe 35 kids, depending on
Yes.
how large the class sizes are, and sometimes even 40 in some of those high school classes.
Mhm.
And the teachers are teaching to the masses, but when in tutoring, we're not teaching to the masses, we're teaching to the student needs. And so because we have that background in high school and elementary education, and we've got the experiences that we can draw upon, we can narrow down what the students need because we've
Yes.
had that experience, and we focus on it and target it so that we can move them forward very rapidly. And it really is a game changer for kids. It's so it, I agree with you. So gratifying to get those messages from parents.
Mhm.
I'm glad that they're giving you that feedback. That's great. Okay, is there any other stories that you'd like to tell? Because that was wonderful.
Well, I no, I have a lot of stories. The only other thing that I'll mention is, um, uh, my hope is to move eventually into student success coaching primarily. And I find that that's really beneficial for students from grades 4 really on up to college, to be honest.
Yeah.
And so in the works, I hope to eventually release some sort of course that would include video handouts and then live coaching and help from me.
Right. Right.
So that's something that I'm kind of working on. It's just not ready to release yet.
Yes, and I'm sure that you'll put it up here under your resources and products. And I would like to look at that really quickly before we go
Sure.
into your social media, because you do already have a couple of things on here. You've got helping students with fluency at home and growing confidence in students. Do you want me to
Yeah.
open those up so that they
Well,
can see them, or do you
sure.
want to? Okay, let's see if
Sure.
I can.
And those are free. Like, my part of my passion is to provide parents with free resources. So
Okay, great.
I'll be adding more and more free. Some will be for purchase, but a lot of it will be free items for parents.
Right. So it looks like this is just giving them specific strategies to practice that fluency, which is really, really good. And if parents are, my dogs are barking, I'm sorry. If parents are going to actually sit down and do that, that is going to be a game changer. And anytime parents can get actively involved with the learning at home, their kids will see rapid
Yes.
success. So
Hmm.
that's great. Let me go back to your other one. Let me see if it'll go back. And we've got growing confidence in students. And let's see what this one comes up with. And this looks like it's just like supporting your child at home. Like
Yes.
they go to school. How can you make school, that homeschool connection stronger, maybe? Would
Yeah.
that be a
Well,
good way to say it?
yes, absolutely. Cheryl, every single parent consultation I have done, and I've done probably, I don't know, maybe 15 at this point, not a huge number, but every single one that I've done, every parent has mentioned, I want my child to be more confident.
Oh,
Every
for sure.
single one. And so, obviously, that is important to parents and that is a need. And so, I am working on some confidence resources too.
I love that. And I mean, I think parents do find that that's a missing element. There's a lot of books out there about parenting. There's a lot of books out there about, learning, but just hearing it from somebody who sees it in action and can say, I've seen this work for other families. Maybe you should
Hmm.
try it too. I think those are big game changers
Hmm.
and, the course of a student's life.
And I
Okay.
do have a YouTube channel, and so there's
Yeah.
video. Yeah,
Yes. I was just going to share that.
there's videos that correspond to these resources. I try to put some of them on the website, but then there's others that are on the YouTube channel that correspond to those topics and everything. So,
Wonderful. So yes, and her channel is 4011 Learning for Families.
mhm.
And I'm going to subscribe right now because I want to get your
Yay!
updates. And then your Facebook page is also called 4011. And I'm sure you're doing a lot of the same things over here, where you're posting different things, keeping families up to date. That's wonderful. Hours of operation, all those important things. And then I really didn't get a chance to look at your page over here on Instagram, but over here you're Kylie Larsen with an EN coaching.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so then, oh, you were at the beach. Good for you. That's wonderful. So we really want to encourage families to go there and follow along and get to know, like, and trust you. That's what I always say. Get to know, like, and trust the person that you want to have services from, and see if they're a good fit for your child,
Mhm.
because they have to have a way to get to know you. So you've already got 3 great places for them to go. 4 if we include your website. And yeah, I think you're off to a great start. So moving forward, if you get into your student success coaching, and then maybe do some academic coaching along with it, you could really make a full-time business out of this thing. That's great.
Yeah, that's the hope. I kind of left my retirement on the table after 20 years. You have to have 25 years in North Carolina to receive benefits. At 20 years, I received medical insurance at age 55. So that's a big deal.
Mhm.
Um, that I was that motivated to try something new. And so, yes, I do hope to make it a full time gig, and I hope to impact a lot of kids and families along the way. Really,
And
really
I think
passionate about that.
you're off to a great start, and just continue sharing your message, and they're going to just fall in love with you, want to have their child work with you, and to build that confidence. So I congratulate you on taking that really big step, and moving things forward. So
And
everybody, make sure that you go out and find her resources and follow her. Yes, go
yeah,
ahead.
thank you. Thank you, Cheryl, for all you do to help tutors also.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for your time today. And so we're going to wrap it up. And I just want to thank you for spending your time. The kids are at home. They were nice and quiet. I never heard them. So good job, kids. And good job, Kylie. It was so great having this conversation. And you're going to be coming back on here shortly. I think it's next month. We're going to be visiting with Tina McMillan
Yes.
from Atypical Tutors. And we're going to be chatting. I can't even remember what our topic is, but we're going to be chatting. And so we will be posting that under the Student Success Squad. So make it a
Yeah.
great day, everybody, and keep the learning going.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye bye.